Hello, everyone, and welcome back to All Things Real Time. Well, as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Lorimbo. Lorimbo, how are you?
Terrible, I'm having a deja vu. HaRT. I feel like we said this before.
Feels very familiar. Yeah, we've been here before because we just finished recording with Albino and Theory from the AfterMath Esports podcast called Supply Blog. No, I'm joking. Supply Cam. Lorenzo.
I might have gotten the name of the supply. I watched Albino play and then like I created a neural connection to the word supply blog. You know, it's like that's how it came out. Anyway, we are today joined by Mr. Theory. We legally have to call Mr. because how old he is, how ancient he is. And young, what did you get called? No, like young loser RTS gamer, like battle ace player. I don't quite.
Dog shit RTS player and a battle aces player. Dog shit
RTS player, albino.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, thanks for coming on the podcast. I'm actually physically here with Theory. This is not a green screen.
Yeah, we're here.
In real life. So thanks for having us. It was good. I actually had a really good time on the AfterMath Esports podcast. That was really good fun. I think it's a really good episode. Yeah. So everyone should go and check it out and like and subscribe and follow us on Spotify. Do you have Spotify?
We do, yeah, Spotify.
And follow them on Spotify. Do you know how many
people
follow you on Spotify?
To shout out the podcast on their own
Probably
thing.
Me and my mom and Carmi, yeah.
I think it's the same on our Spotify. I've got like 3 followers.
Perfect. Yeah.
Actually,
we got boss. We got boss.
I need to put a hit out, which is what I do every episode of All Things Real Time. And I say, if you see it's on site, someone gave us not 5-star review on Spotify. So our average review is like 3.5 stars right now. So
did they write anything?
I don't know. I didn't bother to check even. But if that was you, then I'm coming for you. It's on site.
The coward.
Yeah. He's protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he can call people out now.
Yeah, it's good. I'm flexing it. And also the Second Amendment.
Okay, so I propose we start with the banana question just to settle the tone.
But who's gonna?
I've been teasing it.
Who's gonna? Okay.
I'm gonna ask it as always.
Okay,
Albino and Theory, you're asked up to your judgment, like your personal judgment, like as if it were your real life, like your normal everyday life, to explain to me whether or not a behavior is to be considered normal or unhinged. Okay? So I'm gonna describe a behavior and you're gonna confront it with like the things that you normally experience. You're gonna tell me if this is normal or not, okay? So Lorimbo and HaRT walk into a supermarket and HaRT is angry, so he decides to get some banana. But unfortunately, there are like a random amounts of bananas, but there are no singular bananas available. So HaRT takes the banana caskets and starts physically ripping them apart. And then goes to the cashier and gives him the singular bananas.
I'm pretty sure I got 2. I just want to fact check. I'm pretty sure I bought 2.
Yeah, but there were 2 singular bananas.
2 singular. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Because I don't need 5 bananas. I need 2. So I get 2 bananas. I go to the I buy 2 bananas. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. Like that's not allowed. He's like, "What are you doing?"
That's pretty uncivilized, yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that here. If it comes in a pack, if every bushel of bananas is 8, you're buying 8 bananas. You don't have a choice.
Because you're paying by weight, so you don't have to buy like. It's not like you're paying for 5 bananas, and I go and we have to do some math.
If it's a weight scale, then
it's weight.
It's not as crazy.
Yeah,
but if it's got like a barcode on it, then
no.
Crazy.
I'm not buying like I'm not buying like a set number of bananas. I take it now. Like here's 2 bananas. Divide the price by 5 and then times it by 2 and tell me how much money I get. We're buying by weight.
You didn't know that.
Of course I did. That's how everyone buys bananas.
No, they buy
like
barcodes, for example.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
you don't buy them like that here.
No, that's
we'll buy like onions and stuff like that, but not bananas.
So
it's different.
So you guys are ninja. That from my perspective, it was a ninja. You guys agree with this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
bro, I'm not buying. Okay, the rest of the context is we were in Krefeld for Home Story Cup, so we're just in some random German town. And we go into town to get food, and then we go to the venue.
neither of us speaks any German whatsoever. The guy in Krefeld, nobody speaks English at all. They speak German and Turkish only.
Yeah, okay, that's true. But I'm not. We're going to the venue, right? We're going to Home Story Cop, which is in a bar. I'm not walking into a bar with fucking 5 bananas. I'd look crazy carrying around bananas all day. Are you mad? So I buy 2, I eat 2, and then I'm good. I'm done. That's fine. It's completely normal to break them off of the bunch because
so they let you do it, right? They let you.
Yeah, she didn't say anything. She didn't say you have to buy more bananas. For this. She just weighed them and then paid, and I paid for them. It was fine.
HaRT. It's Krefeld. This is like probably not in the top 10 weirdest things she has seen that day.
Do you want another banana story about the time I fucked up buying bananas? I was in the middle of London buying bananas, and I was buying a banana or like 2 bananas, and I put them on the scale, but it's a self-checkout, so like I put it on the scale, but I leant on the scale when it went through, and it was like the middle of lunch rush hour. It was really busy, so it put like £4, which is like $6 of bananas. I bought 2, and it was like $6. But because it was so busy, I didn't want to like call anyone over to fix it, so I spent like £4 on 2 bananas. It was the most expensive bananas I've ever bought. It was rough. Listen, it's fine. Okay. I have a healthy, normal relationship with bananas. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Remember, what are we here to talk about today?
Well, you're putting me on the spot like this.
Normally you interrupt me and you finish the intro from... You normally me finish the intro because you say that everyone complains that the intro is too long.
Yeah, but normally we have a subject. The one time we don't have a subject pre-prepared, you put me on the spot. What the fuck?
I have one subject pre-prepared, and it might result in me getting kicked out of Theory's apartment.
Let's go. Go for... Actually, yes, I remember now. Go for it, sure.
Theory, I saw a clip on Twitter of you saying that Stormgate is mostly skill issue. Is that true? Do you stand by these comments?
Theory.
I can pull up Discord DMs right now that he does not believe that.
I also happen to have the same Discord DMs that he does indeed not believe in such a case. So,
okay. I will defend myself. Okay, I recorded that episode on September 4th or something. It was posted a few days later. I say at the beginning of the video whenever it was recorded. So keep in mind, this is like before we were getting argented and dogged to fuck.
No,
right?
absolutely
we were
not.
Getting argented and dogged to fuck.
It was before.
But it wasn't optimized. Like
this is a history revision.
It was before Theory was getting dogged.
Yeah,
dog fucking was already commonplace. Happening all over the country, all over the place.
Let's just say the day that we filmed that, I had beaten Percival in a tournament. Okay, a Vanguard. Inferno's being a Vanguard in a tournament right now. Okay, like that was when that was recorded. Okay.
Who did you lose to next? The next series.
Albino. Yeah. Changed my whole world perspective.
Shame in that.
I lose to some shitter from Canada.
Yeah. That's because I know how to build dogs. Percival expanded both of those games, or all 3 of those games, or whatever, 5 games.
Right. Beginner mistake.
Terrible. Okay, if you're not on 3 racks production before you expand, you don't know how to play the game. It's that simple. Like you don't expand in the current state of Stormgate.
Albino, how much is coaching? How much do you charge you for coaching right now?
$30 USD.
Bro, what?
You're booked, right?
This
You're pretty booked, huh?
This
is the biggest scam ever.
It's 5 p.m.
What the fuck?
It's not a scam, first of all. Thank you very much. At 10 a.m. today, like 7 hours ago, I did an hour with a fellow. And do you know what? You want to know something? He is majorly improved getting my coaching.
Okay, fellow from Albino, I'll do the same for free. Just to just to cut this young shit RTS gamer cannot be allowed to prosper.
If you can show proof that you've DM'd Albino about buying coaching, then Lorimbo will undercut it and he'll do it.
If Albino has been paid by you, reach out, you might be entitled to compensation.
Oh my
god. I give great coaching. Okay.
The only payment we need is a sub to All Things Real Time. That's all we need.
Yeah.
It's a loss leader. You know, like Amazon will sell stuff at a loss so that more people use Amazon. We do that, but with the All Things Real Time podcast.
Yeah, remember that the All Things Real Time podcast is completely self-funded. All our in the sense that we have to pay rent. Unfortunately, our lives are not funded by anyone else, and we don't get money from it. So if you want to help us, well, first off, you can always gift $1 million to me. I will never refuse.
Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah,
we'll take that. No, I'll take that. You won't get shit.
What? I'm a 50-50 owner. I will say, I found it funny. Someone on one of my more recent episodes commented saying, "When is the Patreon coming available?"
Oh. No, because that sounds like troll. No, they were serious. They asked is there any way to financially support you guys with a Patreon? It was something very sweet.
And
nice. For that we thank you. We forgot your name. That's how.
we just have so many fans. We get so many fans. What can we do?
Yeah, I can't remember all the fans.
I did reply to say, the moment we make any content worth paying for, then we will start a Patreon. Then we will let you pay for it.
Good luck
now
with
save
that.
your money.
That's funny.
And we really appreciate the just. We have the best commenters. We have the best people. We all get nice things. Everyone's like, "Oh wow, this is such a nice discussion. I enjoy." And then we get 300 views. So if you don't shield this podcast to everyone you know in the world, does your grandma know about the podcast? I don't think
Everyone's grandma's on YouTube. Everyone knows how YouTube works now.
Yeah.
You've got little cousins.
Did you tell her?
Get them on the iPad. Get them on a playlist that's just our videos over and over again.
Yeah,
you gotta get them
get
started
the kids
young.
On.
Yeah, get them hooked.
Get the kids. The kids don't they don't even know what the fuck they're listening to. They're just hypnotized by the talking man.
We should start doing clips from the podcast, and we'll put Subway Surfers in the comments.
Yeah. Just have half the podcast have Subway Surfers. Maybe it's like those kids on TikTok that have an iPad and they're scrolling through TikTok while watching Breaking Bad or something.
I'm gonna call him out, but my little cousin does this, and it can't be good for their brain. He's playing Fortnite on the PlayStation, and he's scrolling something on his phone, and he has an iPad playing something at the same time, and I'm like, bro, you are cooked.
You're cooked.
It is over. It is over. That's just a level of content that your brain wasn't built for, you know?
Yeah.
Because then they grow.
Yeah. Or just being bored. When we were young, we just had to be bored. And I was like, "Mum, I'm bored." She was like, "Okay." You know?
Get fucked.
Yeah.
No, but then no. You first off, this is boomer talk. But there is a real danger because then they grow up and you get albinos. So you have to be careful. You don't want your kid to be. I feel like I'm shit talking albinos.
The only adverse effect I had from growing up in the TikTok generation is I can't read a book. That's it. It's too boring for me. I need Subway Surfers on one page and the book in the other, but
that's it.
Other than that, it's fine.
Yeah, he has a book in the background to flex.
I'm just illiterate, but other than that, there were no major side effects.
Nothing major.
Go back to our YouTube comments. We have got very nice comments. One person commented, "Friend of the show, Blodier." You guys know Blodier, or do you?
He keeps talking about Beyond All Reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anytime someone mentions bar, he just says Beyond All Reason mention. That's it. That's what I know about Bloodear.
But he commented, I don't have to comment on me, but he commented not about Beyond. He did comment about Beyond All Reason, but he also commented about something that I said, and I think this would be a good thing for us to talk about. I said that I think the direction that games like Battle Aces, we're calling them fast action RTS, purely for the acronyms. Games like Battle Aces, or I think I said 3v3 Stormgate, are moving away from a more traditional RTS kind of structure and more towards something that looks more like a MOBA. And I said that I think this needs to happen because I think RTS can't compete with the MOBAs. And he said he disagreed, but here's where I disagreed with him. He said examples that he gave were Age of Mythology, and I think he said if they just make a new AoE 2, everyone will play it. But I think we're getting to the point of reinventing the same game and repackaging and repurposing it over and over again. I think he said AoE 2 and I pointed out Age of Mythology. But these games are good and people are going to play them for a while. But I think when it's a copy of a game you've played before, the half-life, the drop-off of the audience is so much quicker. And I just wondered, like, if you guys agree with that or disagree. I'm curious what you think. Lorenzo's going to go first because he can't hold his time.
Oh, well, no, I was actually waiting. I was actually biding for time to make theory uncomfortable. But yeah, it's like the awkward drink. I agree and disagree.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that, okay, I feel like certain things, like certain specific communities, might have potential to transfer over if you did something like the same game, but it actually works. In a sense, that's what kind of I feel like a lot of people were hoping for with stuff like Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition and Age of Empires 4. Nobody talks about Age of Empires 3. That's not a coincidence, guys. And actually, I feel like because Age of Empires 2 has such a dedicated fan base, and it is legitimately a really cool game that I'm enjoying a lot, and so is Age of Empires 4, honestly. If you got the same game, but you like just made the pathfinding better, for example, just from a technical standpoint, I feel like it could potentially do well. Now, the problem is, as I said before, it's a slightly more nuanced question here, because you have to think about, okay, are we talking, when we say the game will be successful, right? What are we thinking of? Are we thinking of esports side? Are we thinking copies sold? Are we thinking map making? Are we thinking arcade making? Like, what part of it do you want focused on that? And in that sense, no, I don't think they will be successful because those campaigns are already been played. The pathfinding is mostly for the esports, the multiplayer, tryhards, weighty gamer. But those, as I explained before, are a minority in my opinion. So in that, I could see what I see where Blood is coming from, because we are more dedicated to like the let's say multiplayer experience, right? The more competitive environment. But if we're talking about the success of a game long term, I don't think that model is viable anymore.
I will say, I think his point with AoE 2 wasn't to remake AoE 2. It was to make an AoE 2 clone, but with a studio that will support it and balance update and add new maps and this sort of thing.
There is no money in it. There is just no money.
And what I said is that's basically what Stormgate was going for, in my opinion. From the start of Stormgate development, or at least advertising, they were saying, we made StarCraft, we're RTS kind of experts, it's going to be like StarCraft, it's going to be like Warcraft. And I think a lot of people just heard like it's going to be like StarCraft, but they're going to do balance updates and patches and this sort of thing, which is, I think, for a lot of people what StarCraft is missing. So I don't know that it needs to be a clone, but like it needs to be close enough, like a not like a remake, but like similar, but then get the support that those games currently don't. But I don't know that changes much. Yeah.
The problem that I have with that is that it's a significant investment for not a lot of return, in my opinion. Like, as I said before, okay, RTSs are not a profitable genre. Let's not kid ourselves, okay? We're never gonna be MOBAs, we're never gonna be Counter-Strike. It's a genre that's very niche. It's dedicated, people like watching it, but it doesn't get the insane hype pop-off moments that other games get and that like are really popular nowadays. So if you want to make, let's suppose you're like, think about this way, like you're a company, you want to make a new RTS, okay? You have to get money somewhere. Even if you have money yourself, you have to make a business model that works. So what's your objective here? You want to make a game that lasts for a long time, that requires a lot of money, and that money has to come from somewhere. So you have to do stuff like, okay, maybe we'll have a campaign that you can buy, or we can have skins that you can buy, war chest packs, you know, like those kind of deals as the monetization that StarCraft had. And I think that's what Stormgate was trying to do. Then you have more traditional ways of getting funding, such as, okay, you know, the game costs a set amount. And it's like, for example, how Age of Empires 4 or how Zero Space does it. You have to, or Age of Mythology, for example. You have to buy the game. So there is at minimum an entrance level, like a barrier at the entrance of money. That means that, well, if nothing else, we will have, like, if we sell X copy, will get this amount. And then you have like the even more, I would say, predatory ways of monetizing the game, which is what I fear battle aces might fall into. Where like, oh, you pay to level unit to get new units. Or even worse, God forbid, we get something like, oh, you pay to level up units. Like something like Clash Royale,
more
for
slots
example.
or something.
Yeah, and then that can get really, really predatory. But that has been proven to be really effective. So what you were saying in that comment, I mostly agree with. But I am a bit more of a doomer in that sense. I really, really struggle to see that kind of RTS. So like with support for a long time, a big team, a big like everything works well, functioning properly. I just don't see the model working. I think the best shot that we have right now, if I had to be realistic, as I said in the previous one, is either stuff that is more dedicated to single player. So either only single player or mostly single player. You get stuff like there are billions, last three gnomes, or in a sense you get even stuff like that's a bit not an RTS because it's turn-based, but you get stuff like Civilization, for example, right? Where the main appeal of the game is that you play your own thing. Alone, like you play the campaign, you play against the AI, whatever is your thing, but you don't. The point of the game is not to play competitive, or you make a small project, something like Zero Space. Or like, okay, we're gonna keep it small, we're gonna cut some corners, the budget is small, we don't overpromise, we don't have to think. I think Stormgate was the last big project, right? At least that I know of, where it's like, okay, we have a lot of money, we intend to like have a big lifespan of the game. We have plans for a 3v3 mode, we have plans for a esports
like
side.
The next 3 years and that sort of thing.
And so on. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I think it's super interesting, but like I forget who told me, but someone told me like in the StarCraft scene there's actually a lot of new young players, which is very surprising to me because like you'd think like young players just want to play the new hype. Like right now Deadlock is huge. So everyone just follows the hype. It was kind of interesting for me getting into the StarCraft scene when it's already kind of like downhill and has been going downhill for a long time. So I think like RTS as a genre always has opportunity to kind of capture a certain niche in the gaming audience. Like you always have that opportunity. So you can kind of just make clones of games and have it be successful. And I think that's what if you have an RTS game and you want it to last and you want to make good money, you have to get the StarCraft. You have to get the StarCraft players. It's just that simple. Like, so I think that's why I give like Stormgate and even Battle Aces isn't bad because it feels like Stormgate Micro, but it's going to be very difficult to get the StarCraft players. But if they can get them, then yeah, you can make any clone of an RTS game. Relatively successful, I think.
All right, Theory, do you have an opinion on this? He has been nodding a lot. I'm afraid he's gonna fall off asleep.
No, these are good points. I think, as Lorimbo mentioned, the RTS community is niche, where it's usually 30-year-olds and older, and we're busy.
It's just you. It's just don't even try to like say, oh yeah, everyone is like 30. It's just players, you,
okay?
Bro.
You guys are weird. Like, I don't know why you guys don't play Fortnite and stuff.
Because it's 2 generations after. You're a boomer. You don't know.
But for the most part, this RTS nostalgia is from the 90s. People were playing these games in the 90s, and that's what made us all love StarCraft 2 so much. There's room for games, you do have to capture the old StarCraft audience, but it's never going to be as big as League or Dota or Counter-Strike just because of the nature of how hard the genre is, how old school it is, and how hard it is to enter the scene.
I do think, though, people are ready for things that are really hard and really fast. And
yeah, people do like those things.
Because there's controversy at the moment on Twitter God save us all, but because they're changing the movement in Call of Duty a lot, and everyone's saying that like if you're really using the movement like as much as you can, it's way too sweaty, and everyone's like, it's really cringe because you're like jumping around and sliding around all over the place, and it's like only kids are going to be able to do that, and it's cringe. So I think the kind of demand for like very sweaty games is there. I guess my question more is like, do you think that any of the MOBA audience can be tempted back to RTS? Because in the early days of like Twitch and in Wings, it was the biggest game, and it was therefore to me pretty obvious that like Dota and League kind of dragged people away. And like there's a lot of people that used to be big in StarCraft. Like if you click through their Wikipedia, they have different pages on different Wikipedia like hubs for different games, because they didn't just quit games, they just moved to a different game and did really well there. So like I don't know if we can tempt them back, and what like if there's a big enough project that would like convince them that RTS is.
I can tell you one angle that I'm surprised I've never seen actually, because that's what got me into StarCraft in the first place from League of Legends. One of the main concerns, one of the main problems with playing MOBAs, one of the most annoying things in the world, is that you're a ape with 4 other apes against 5 other apes. There's a lot of aping going around, and more importantly, being a good player is as much of a skill as being a psychologist, basically, for the other 4 individual in your team. If you've ever gotten anywhere close to high elo on LoL, I'm talking like Diamond to Master, I've been told it's not high elo anymore, there's MMR inflation or something, but 2015 it was considered really good. You will know that the higher you go in League of Legends or in Dota, the more you get actually the most. You have to be basically a therapist. You have to like have some like it's the opposite. It's the opposite of having like social problems. You have to be particularly good at managing you have to be a school teacher. You have to manage a bunch of kids, right? So for me, the thing that got me into StarCraft was this promise. This is a game where the only thing that matters is skill. You're alone. You can improve so much more quickly, because when you watch the replay, you can see your mistakes, and they're not like there is no stuff like, oh, but this is a mistake because this other guy didn't come to help me get a scuttle crab or whatever. There is no contamination of the information. So I'm always really surprised that this is just not talked about. Like the fact that compared to a game like LoL, if you consider like if you like a lot of things, a lot of people that try hard LoL, for example, they get sucked into the game by playing team games with friends, and then they're like, oh, I feel like I could be good at it, and then they eventually get to the frustrated part where the meta is boring, everything is boring, and feels like every game is a slot machine depending on the teammates, right? That's a very common concern when you play LoL. I don't know, it's not really that true, but it is a feeling that's widely held. So I've always wondered, like,
I think if like 1 in 5 of your games is trolled by like 1 or more people who are running it down and like want you to lose, that's pretty noticeable. Like that's, you know what I mean, like that sticks with you. Like how many games do you have to get trolled in before you're like, before you quit, before you're fed up with it, you know?
Well, the problem is not whether or not you feel like you're getting trolled, whether or not you're getting trolled, or the other game. Like usually what happens is that 2 players feel like they're trolling each other. Like they accuse each other of hinting. That's kind of what happens. You know, you are the hinter. No, you are the hinter. And most of them, both of them are hinting usually.
Yeah.
From everyone else's perspective. Yep. No, but jokes aside, my point is I've always wondered, because of what Theory was saying, there is market for this like very weighty, very try-hard kind of deal. I've never really seen like a lot of marketing directed towards that kind of gaming. I wonder how much it is like because they are prioritizing the big part of the community, which is like more casual play,
that's
like co-op.
That's what I saw Stormgate do a lot. Like they're always like, oh, it's the next social RTS. You can play team games and co-op, and I'm like, guys, just make a good 1v1. Like some people don't. They kept using the stat of like 80% of people never played ladder, never even clicked Q1v1 ever. And it's like, yeah, but all those people watch 1v1 Stormgate. Like I haven't played StarCraft in years, but I'll watch all the big tournaments. So yeah, there's this big there's this I think Lorimbo's like, there's this big focus on like team games and social and stuff like that. Like just make the 1v1 competitive, host tournaments, people watch. Like Beelmolf's tournament had 2,000 people watching. There's like an average of 400 players a day or something.
For growth though, I feel like that's not growth though, because
I
I
agree with theory.
You need a mode like for me and you. We want the 1v1, right? For players like us, but most players aren't like us.
And also like all the time that they're keeping the servers on, it only costs them money. Like, have you spent any money in StarCraft? Have you spent any money on Stormgate? Because otherwise, like, you've actually only costed them money. And I agree, like, it's good in terms of the tournaments are good advertising and they get people to like see the game and people say, oh, you know, that looks fun. I wonder what like the story behind the game is and that sort of thing. And I think it contributes to the kind of longevity of the game. Like the people, if you play the campaign and finish, you can uninstall the game after 60 hours. If you play the 1v1, you're keeping the game installed for a lot longer. Like if we've all played like a few thousand games, you've had it around for way longer. So like that contributes to the game feeling alive. Also, I think most people don't only play 1v1. We've all played co-op at some point. We've all played team games at some point, and like that contributes to like keeping the queues alive. Maybe Albino has no friends. My bad. Sorry, I forgot.
I remember one very infamous game. Lorimbo, Boss, Captain Alex, and you.
Guess who had the highest? Guess who had the highest score at the end of the game? The Cannon Rusher had the highest score.
In which Boss and HaRT just spent the entire for a game attacking each other in the same team. They just kept attacking each other while Captain Alex and I were desperately trying to win. And at one point, they also started attacking us.
We were playing 4v4 against like actual platinum players. We were like nearly lost. It was like close because Boss had just tried.
For Grandmaster against 4 Platinums, and Boss and HaRT were just busy killing each other.
Because he killed all my buildings, all my bases, and then he was like, okay, we might lose. And then he was like, oh, truce. And he kept trying to like put another hatch down. I was like, bro, you don't get to make a hatch if I don't get to have a hatch. That's not fair.
It's funny. But yeah, I think team games are a great way. I think if you ask most RTS players, what was the first thing you did when you played an RTS game? And they're not going to say 1v1. For me, it was use map settings in StarCraft. I played like bound games, The Thing, Tower Defense.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was 1v1, to be honest.
And that's actually what I wanted to say. I will actually counteract Mr. 10 out of 10 here. I don't. This is a joke a joke that only unfortunately a few people will get. I actually think Frost Giant did kind of the opposite. As in, at least personally, okay, maybe like there is no worse deathman than the one that does not want to hear. But I felt like there was a lot of talk about 1v1. It feels as good as StarCraft. It's gonna be the new esport. Thanks to the Snowplay engine and the what is it called?
Rollback.
Rollback. Yes, rollback feature. This game feels smooth. The play is fun. There are a lot of units, a lot of cool stuff. And I remember, true to my word, I have a podcast before the game came out in early access that says this already. That's why I know that this is like an opinion that I had before. I felt like there was very little talk, of concrete talk, about the stuff that was directed to casual gamers. The campaign was talked about. There's gonna be a cool story. There was some writing. There was the novella. I remember that. But the fact that only taste of the campaign got released on the early access, while the 1v1 mode had gone through a good year of play testing and revisioning and stuff.
You might need to explain a little bit more what you mean here. So basically, we all had access to various releases of the beta depending on what time you got invited, right? But the beta, you would log into the client, and the only mode to play was 1v1. So no one saw anything.
At one point, they had a co-op.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
At one point, we had co-op.
But the co-op isn't linked to the campaign much.
Yeah. So, but we also, the co-op was kind of limited too.
Yeah. So we until the early access release in July, we hadn't seen anything from the co-op at all. So no one external had play tested it or fed back on that kind of aspect.
You mean from the campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that I will say, for example, I can compare this to the Age of Mythology, right? So, a campaign that is now recently released. There are a couple of things that are to me weird. If you want to like keep that casual audience, then I think campaign and arcades are one of the most important features to think about. To work around, like wanting that campaign to be good, like if you're worried about replayability, and that's the other thing I was thinking about. There's like so much more potential. If you ever played Diablo 3, for example, or Diablo 4, whichever. No, Diablo 4 actually no. Diablo 3 specifically. One of the things that kept me coming back to the campaign specifically, not even Rifts, not even that, and same for Start, was the presence of achievements. Was a presence of alternative win conditions. You can reuse the campaign so much more. Like you can play it in so many different ways. There's an achievement coming. That like you can play this map in a different way. Maybe you don't make the unit that you're supposed to make. It's like a harder variation of the mission. And there is like intermissions between the missions themselves. That is stuff like, oh, I'm gonna buy this upgrade for the Marine. But next playthrough in Wings of Liberty, I'm actually gonna go mech, so I'm gonna buy the Hellion upgrades. Like it felt like there were a lot of game modes, but the infrastructure around them was completely missing. An achievement mode, party chat, like chats in general were not present. Was another ping thing. So pushing back a bit, I feel like it was like for me at least personally, I had the opposite impression. I had the feeling of a very targeted campaign. To StarCraft player for competitiveness, at least. At least that's what I got into it for. That's what I gathered from it. Would you disagree with this?
They definitely add a lot for the 1v. But I mean, I feel like the campaign, the co-op, and the 1v1, like everything's sort of half baked. Like instead of making the campaign people happy, instead of making the 1v1 people happy, they made everyone a little upset, you know? Like the worst for me in 1v1, like balance is gonna be bad, but it's the bugs. Like I remember losing games to Sovereign's Watch in my main base at 3 minutes, killing a unit inside of a bunker. Like what am I supposed to do, you know? So it's like those weekly updates kind of need to, or weekly, bi-weekly, because even in the new patches there's been a lot of bugs too. So I don't know, I feel like they need to focus and get one of the modes right.
Yeah, so
I agree. Yeah, I think 1v1 is important in arcade. I think arcade will be the big one that'll get the most audiences in and ease the most new players into the genre.
Yeah, arcade's great, and map editor too for
for sure. But we know, I don't think I'm leaking anything. We know Monk has said that the map editor is like a whole new game in itself, right? He says like the development time for the map editor is huge. He said in the Stormgate server.
He said that in the Zero Space server, actually.
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yes, in the
Zero
Space
I'm leaking
server.
from the public Zero Space server instead.
Monk was in there?
Yes.
Monk's in there talking?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He was talking about the fact that he was talking about like time cost.
Oh, sure.
Let's not. Yeah, like he was explaining that like making the editors systems was actually pretty expensive and complicated. Like it was not easy, and it compared it to doubling the scale of the project. So like the same time and money and concern and like people that were needed as something like campaign and stuff. No, but I wanted to ask Theory actually, because okay, now Frost Giant latest development not on the patch, I mean, on the at least roadmap side, has been to push forward the 3v3 mode, right? I think this is I don't think I'm leaking anything. I think this is fairly
No, this is known.
This has been well known. They have said so that they're gonna bring it forward. They're gonna make it earlier. Do you think that this 3v3 mode? Okay, we haven't played it for full clarity. Nobody here has play tested. We are not like, I'm not trying to do like, it's not like we already played it and then I'm trying to like fake that I don't know. Like, we actually don't know anything.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask Theory, do you think this thing will have potential? Like with the hero and stuff, do you think this is something that you would like to see? Or do you think they should maybe scrap that idea or like delay it and focus instead of the arcades or the campaign or the co-op? Like, what would you do if you were in charge?
I'd like to see it, but maybe not. Maybe deprioritize. I think map editor is the most important thing, if you would ask me, because then you could have arcade. People can balance maps. If balance is slow, the community can self-balance through maps.
Yeah.
I really think map editor is like a top priority for, especially for growth. I do want to see 3v3. I really love Warcraft 3 team games, and the competitive capability of like that type of genre was never explored. So I'm interested to see it. I miss Warcraft 3 team games. There was a lot of really cool mechanics. So if they can capture a similar feeling as Warcraft 3, I think it could be great. But are they getting ahead of themselves? Maybe. I think maybe, like Albino said, prioritize and finish certain modes so that everything's not half done. And that'll probably cause less criticism and get growth going quicker.
I think the 3v3 makes a lot of sense in bringing some of the more casual players back. I'm sure they have numbers on all of this, but I think the retention for 1v1 has probably been actually pretty high. Like, I know I haven't played for a long time. I know Lorimbo hasn't played for a long time, but like compared to some modes, I think the retention percentage-wise is quite high. And I think a 3v3 mode is a really nice way to get people who enjoyed the campaign or co-op to bring their friends into the game. It keeps them around long enough where they are still kind of in the ecosystem and they're still aware of Stormgate, so that when the next campaign chapters or next co-op heroes drop, they're kind of still aware of it and they still care enough that they might buy them, which I think ultimately is the aim of Frost Giant, right? So I think it makes a lot of sense. I do worry that like they're spreading their hours so thin, where I think 1v1 needs some pretty radical changes. I was talking to Theory about this on the drive over, about like how I think a lot of things need pretty major tweaks, like not just balance changes to like make the game fair, but to make the game like compelling, that people like the mechanics more.
I actually think the balance is not as important for that. I think the more important thing is to make the game compelling, in my opinion. Obviously, this is arguing against my own interest, because as a very competitive player, I'm more interested in like the very top of the balance. But what I mentioned before is that I've seen the critics, like not the critics, like people that have generally really tried to get into the games. I was talking about Jason, I was talking about Nathanias, and they were like, not only the stuff was broken, but it wasn't really a balance problem. It was just how miserable certain things felt, right? Like just getting dog rushed over and over and over and over. Like, how many dog rush can you have in a row before you just like, okay, you know what?
Because what I'm thinking is like, we could change the dog upgrade to a point where the balance, like the win rate on it is 50-50, so it's balanced. But like, is it ever gonna be fun to get dogs spammed?
This is actually interesting, because I remember back, I have 3 Infernal players with me, so they might disagree, but back when Vanguard was a little weaker versus Miasma versus Miasma specifically, okay? And the dog build was weaker, I just want to point that out. But even lower level players kept losing to vanguards because it's hard to like hit your timings and properly do the hex and stuff when you just have some 1600 like noob vanguard just like 5 racks exo and then kiting people to death. Like that's not like it's balanced at the top because the infernals can, you know, hit their miasma timings and the vanguards can micro better away from it, but in the lower levels you just get kited to death by 15 exos. So
but I'll actually double down for once and agree with theory with Albino here. Sorry, let's even say, like, let's go for, let's say it was very imbalanced, it was completely infernal favorite, right? Like let's go like
you don't have to like use that as an example because the fucking matchup was unplayable in early access. I promise you.
Absolutely. But okay, outside of the like weird stuff, don't you think that there will still be a problem if you're like, well, actually, if you're playing Infernal versus Vanguard, you're playing Infernal, you have to hit a miasma timing, and if you hit it, you always win, and if you don't hit it, you always lose. Like, regardless of if that ends up overall, like being at 90% for Infernal, 90% for Vanguard, or somewhere in between, I would say that like that kind of situation being created in the first place is
it's
quite
we can
not
bring back an All Things Real Time classic segment, which is where I complain about Reddit. And someone on Reddit was complaining about this is we do genuinely do this like every week. Someone on Reddit was complaining about Dark Prophecy, the Storm spell, and saying like, but without the Storm spell, actually it might not have been Reddit, it might have been your Twitch chat. Don't worry about it. But they were saying without the Storm spell, they're gonna unfollow you now. Sorry. Without the Storm spell, the matchup isn't winnable, and it's like, if that's true, then the problems are deeper because like we can just make the Storm spell do less damage or more damage, so you know, to make it fair. But like, if the Storm spell is unfun to play against, then you know it doesn't matter.
And the whole matchup is reliant on that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we've seen it a few times. Like I talked about it even in our last ATRT episode, where like people have said over and over again, like, but if you nerf the Vector, we'll never win. And it's like, that's not a problem. Like that doesn't mean we should leave a unit to be broken so that the win rate stays high. It's like, then we need to have a conversation about how we're gonna get around that. But anyway, we're recording this. I do this every episode as well. On Sunday, the 15th of September. So now you know. Which means I think we're only a few days away from a patch, is the kind of rumors, right? And I haven't seen it because I'm not on the balance council unlike everybody else. But I'm just.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
I'm just complaining.
What is a balance council? I don't know what a balance council is.
First rule about balance council: nobody talks about balance council.
But I'm not in it, so I'm allowed, right? No,
I'm in no such
that's why you're not in it.
That's true. So I don't know. Basically, I'm just keen to see what they come up with. Keen to see kind of what. But basically, my point is, I think it's gonna need. I hope it's radical. There you go. I hope there's like big changes and we end up with like.
I actually agree with that.
Something really.
I do. I agree too.
Yeah.
There needs to be mechanic changes. The one thing that really bothers me is the dog. How they just won't give up on the dog. Like, I'm a Vanguard player. Just make the thing only for scouting. Make it do 1 damage and buff my other units. Like, what the fuck?
I told ART this. Just kill the dog.
Why? Why does?
Yeah, but he wasn't talking about the game. He was talking about my actual dog.
Oh. What the fuck?
That's not true. Okay, we are gonna. If nobody has anything else to say right now,
I have something to say.
Oh.
Are we gonna talk about the train question?
That's what I was about to say. If we don't have anything else to say, we can cut this with an interlude before we move on the next topic that I had prepared. And this is the time for the train question. So just as the banana question, this question is exactly the same. I'm gonna describe a behavior and you're gonna have to tell me if this is a normal human behavior or if this is unhinged. Okay? Let's suppose that you and your friend are in a train station, let's say in Germany somewhere. and you have to go to Krefeld. Okay, so you get a ticket, you book a ticket from the train station that you are on to Krefeld, and then you go on the main platform. Then your friend decides to not check which train the ticket sees, but just to hop in the first train that they see, which is obviously the wrong train. And it's just like, oh no, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna go in the right direction anyway. How would you characterize such behavior?
Stupid. What the fuck? The trains, they go and then they like move. Like some go left, some go right, some go to Russia, some go to fucking Turkey. Like you're gonna end up in the middle of nowhere.
It was the right train. I saw how many people getting on the train.
No, it wasn't the right train.
It was close enough.
It was the wrong train.
They all go. They all go from the same platform, the same direction. So I was like, "This is the platform that goes in the direction we need to go in."
Okay, so if you go, and then you end up not at the station you want, but you're closer.
We didn't.
But you're closer to where you need to go.
But loads
you're
of people
in the same.
got off
You're in the same.
And changed train. So we all got off and ran and changed train to the next train that is the one we needed to get on. It was fine.
That's what happened. We just got to a random station.
Yeah, it was.
And then it
I have no idea.
And then you got on the right train. That's insane.
Because
you're in the same position you were at the other station. You're just closer now. Like now, if you really
closer is better. Closer is better.
Yeah. The Uber is cheaper. I understand.
You have to understand that not only did he do this insane stuff, but while we were on the train, the wrong one, he kept trying to gaslight me into believing that even though we just literally just jumped on a random train, that this was gonna end up well anyway.
It did end up
and
well.
The worst part is it did.
It did end up well.
The part of the experience.
Okay.
He got rewarded.
I have 2 points. First point. Any country that doesn't speak English as a main language is not a real country, and the consequences of that country cannot affect me.
Yeah, oh yes. By the way, yes, of course, we still didn't speak any German, and exactly as Krefeld, nobody spoke anything but German.
So if we get in any trouble, they'll come up and be like, "Oh, they're just idiot tourists. They just don't know." And I'll go, "Oh, sorry, I don't speak German. I don't believe in your country. It's not real. It's fine." And we talked to a friend of ours who is German, and we role played it, and he said I'm right. He said if that happened, the guy would have been like, "What can I do?" You know?
Well, because you're not.
No, wait. No. This is in the ticket department. So not only but my concern was not necessarily getting a fine. Was ending up in Frankfurt instead of Krefeld.
It's fine. It's not real. Second point. I messed up. I got on the wrong train here in California, and I'm waiting for ages, and the trains run really infrequently because this is not a real country. And I get on the train.
Yeah, this is a consistent behavior.
We speak English here, though.
They speak English, which is good.
We want a war.
I get on the train, and I'm listening for like the AI lady over the tannoy, and she says the next stop is. And then I go on Google Maps and I check, and the next stop is like a mile past the stop that I need. So I've just waited like half an hour for a train, and I can't use the train because it's gonna overshoot massively. So I have to like run off the train before it leaves really quick, and I had to walk home. But it's fine. It's fine.
Wow.
It was
You
fine.
might need this.
You really didn't help your previous point there.
Yeah, I have to stop getting on random trains. It isn't a good idea.
Yeah, you should probably check the ticket.
Yeah.
You might notice how you might think that the banana question, the train questions are pointless and just one-time occurrences, but they're actually,
This is how I live my life.
You don't even know, or should I remind you the Genoa, I know where I'm going.
I did know where I was going. I was right. I was right. I stand by that.
So we also okay, in Genoa. I got hurt at my feet. I was hurt. It was very painful for me to walk. I'm not capping. This is real. I can confirm. It was not pleasant.
I got kiss cut. It better.
I got hurt, so I couldn't walk very well. So we are in the pier of Genoa, and we have to go to the hotel. It's 5 minutes stop. 5 minutes stop, okay? HaRT says, oh, I want to get a gelato, so we'll do a slightly longer trip to just get the gelato and then get to the hotel. So 10 minutes stop. We start going, no gelato anywhere. Are you sure this is the right direction? Yeah, trust me. Let's check on Google Maps so we can... No, I got this. I know where I'm going. 5 more minutes pass. Still no gelato, no hotel. Are you sure? You know where you're going. Yeah, I've done this a million times. Like, I've walked this city like a million times. I've been here a week. I know where I'm going. Like, we're gonna get gelato. Like, trust me. No, but we have to stop. Like, I hate to, like, can we just check Google? No. So, long story short, it took us 25 minutes for a 5-minute trip from the pier to the hotel because this fucker went fucking did an insane fucking circle all around the fucking
Did
city.
we get or did we not get ice cream?
We did get ice cream.
And wasn't it good? It was really good.
Oh,
it was fine. It was all fine in the end.
You see, it's hell. Going around on trips with this man, it's hell.
Why don't you pick the trains, Lorimbo? Why don't you lead the way?
Exactly.
Because no, I do, but the problem is, can I stop him from jumping on the train? Like, what happened was like, oh, let me check the ticket. No, it's this one. Jumps on the train. What the fuck am I supposed to do?
He was gonna leave. I just
yeah, like I was checking the ticket. I was checking the ticket, and the guy just fucking jumps on the train. What am I supposed to do? Shoot him? Like, bring him back?
If you come to America, you
can.
No, because he kept telling me, no, don't worry, this is the right train. And I believed him because I thought like he had checked or something. But no, he was just like made it up. Just completely made it up.
It's good.
Okay, now that we interloaded with the train question, before we're getting closer to the 1 hour mark, so we are gonna start the closing part of the section with one simple question, okay? It's directed to Mr. Albino here. Sorry, to young kid shit-face Albino. If you had to rate Stormgate out of 10, how much would you rate it?
Now?
And why 10 out of 10?
Right now? How would I rate it?
Yeah. How would you rate
Okay, am I doing
Stormgate?
all like campaign and co-op? I've never played campaign, so...
Do whatever you feel
so if I had to rate
with,
the 1v1...
Can be more clownish than the
The
last
1v1
anyway.
it's been pretty bad since EA. I'd give it like... I feel like I have some self-interest here to, boost it up. I'd give it like...
You can also not reply to the question if you don't want to. I wouldn't want to.
I'll give it
Plead the fifth.
like a 5 out of 10, I think. It's pretty low right now. But I'm very hopeful for the new balance patches, hopefully.
Can you explain your reason, your defense?
Okay. I'll tell you.
For your previous rating.
I'll tell you why. Back in Frigate, when the game was good and we could play macro games.
Which it wasn't, but
okay. Frigate had some overpowered one base, like real all-ins, where you'd pull your bobs. Like if you failed, you lost the game. And now, if I remember I was practicing versus boss, and I would like fast 1 racks expand, and then add 2 more racks. So I'm 3 racks on 2 base, and boss is like, and I lost the game. He's like, oh, 3 racks is too committed on 2 base. Like your 3rd base is late. But it turns out the right way to play was to go 1 base 3 racks, farm all the creeps, and then expand when the creeps respawn. That's how I play now. That's how I play Vanguard versus Infernal. Is I expand when the creeps respawn. So like in your RTS brain, you want to get money by expanding. But now you just fucking 1 base all in each other for the creeps, and whoever gets more creeps wins. I remember I asked Percival, I'm like, when do you expand in this matchup? And he's like, if you get lots of creeps, just whenever you hit 400 Luminite. And I'm like, what if it's a bad situation? You don't get a lot of creeps. He's like, don't worry, you already lost the game. So
he's not expanding.
Yeah. So that's why, like, before expanding did something, you can make like real 2-3 base build orders, like, but even back when the 4-minute gaunt drop, like you had probes, hangar bay version, you could like, there was a Percival style, there was like a Nina style CC first, and like all of these were real viable options. Now you can do one thing: you spam dogs, then you make exos. When the creeps respawn, then you expand. Like, so it's just very boring. Not a lot of viability, and Celestial's still OP. So you haven't fixed that problem.
Come on. I won't comment that. I'll put Theo instead of the spot, because I love putting people like that. Now, like if they fail, if aftermath fails, if after get burned, it's my fault.
Oh no, I mean it's fair. We haven't had a patch. I would rate the game very low right now too. I mean, for 1v1, because we haven't got a balance patch in a while, and the balance is really bad. So Infernals is
sorry
virtually
for cutting
unplayable. Right?
Sorry for cutting you off, but I just want to say the game has been very good. Okay, I gave it a relatively low score, but like there's insane potential. Like, because I've played good, long, entertaining macro games.
Okay. I do think there is.
The banning patch was very fun. I agree. The banning patch was very fun.
Okay, I'm sorry, Theory. Please continue.
And the Infesting Fiends patch was dope too. But I had fun with that one for sure. But
yeah, I do remember the instant infest.
That was fun. I had fun. It was maybe not great, but it was fun.
25 Animus instant infest actually pays for itself because the units that die generate more infest.
Yeah, it was balanced. And we went to macro games because one person would have 2,000 feeds, and then it would turn the other person's 2,000 feeds, and they would. It was just.
Surprisingly enough, that led to stable matches.
Yeah.
Not even trolling. Not even trolling. It was one of the most stable matches.
It was very stable. But yeah, right now the game isn't stable. And also they undid the pathing algorithm because it was buggy. So right now the pathing is very bad. So it isn't super fun to play right now. For the past few weeks. It should fix pretty quickly. And I have faith they're going to fix everything. It's just whether or not us and the greater community is like satisfied with the speed. But like it's all gonna get fixed. And it's eventually it'll be great. But there's gonna be some bumpy metas and issues along the way for sure.
Yeah. The reality is it comes down to how long they can run the game like this and get the patches out. Because like they obviously made a decent amount of money from selling campaigns and co-op heroes at launch, but that obviously trails off as everyone that's going to buy them has bought them basically by now. So like they need to run for a while only spending money, and it's quite hard. And like how long can that go on before you say, okay, we're out of money? And it's like, I agree with you, and I think there's a lot of potential, and I think there's a lot of opportunity to get everything good, but they need to have enough steam to get there, basically. Yeah. I think it's money, and I think it's like goodwill within the community, because obviously if everyone is kind of fed up with the game, and then they're not gonna come back to try it.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask, 2 quick questions. Please, short answer, because we have to close, okay? For both of you, both Albino and Theory. Albino first, and then we go Theory, okay? Quick questions. Number 1, one unit you would like to see changed, and why, shortly, of your race?
I have a couple.
You just said dog. This guy hates dogs.
Yeah, I would change the dog, but I think other than that, I would change the Hornet, because it's actually my favorite unit in the game. But right now, it's completely fucking useless, except for sniping Celestial Prisms. It's completely broken. So there needs to be a middle ground where,
Theory, you.
The Hexen. The Hexen is supposed to be our primary caster, but it's super mid. It relies on my opponent standing in a channeling spell, and depending on the map, most maps are very big and wide open. It's completely useless.
Yeah, and then there's somewhere it's like really strong.
Yeah, like Jagged Maw or Broken Crown, but like every other map, it's like Isle of Dread. My caster is absolutely useless, but it's key to my faction. It needs to be like either instant cast or projectile skill shot. Like follow the formula that's worked with like Sonic Storm, Fungal Growth, and all that stuff. AoE spot that they basically have to.
They either get out of it and it does nothing,
right? Yeah,
or they stand in it and lose.
Yeah,
it's not.
I can't like if my opponent knows that they can move their units, it's a useless unit.
Very binary.
Yeah,
it's a very binary out.
The unit I want to change would be the EXO. I think it's really strong. I think it's really unfun. I think no one is like really looking forward to getting kited forever. I think it makes Vanguard versus Vanguard really toxic. I mean, the dog obviously already makes the matchup rough, but like the fact that there's not a unit that escapes from dog versus dog,
it'll be EXO.
Yeah, I am a big fan.
It'll be EXO versus EXO.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'll personally go for Magmadon. It was one of my favorite units when it had the shoes and the jump. I really dislike the new Magmadon. I've said this a million times. I don't like the way it works. I don't like the way it's bottlenecked. For much of the same reason, Theory doesn't like Hexen. It feels very like if my opponent knows they can just kite it, the Magmadon does nothing. And if I get on top of the army, they just instantly die. And it's a binary outcome that I don't like very much. I feel like it's too much power in the spell, and it's kind of awkward to it.
I just
for the last.
Wait, I just had a big brain thought. This might be genius. You know, Magmadon had a dash, but it was like the same as the Vulcan dash. What if they switched it? So Magmadon gets the dash back, but Vulcan gets the stomp now.
Yeah, so they can kill all the Finns instantly.
But
great,
Vulcans are meant to be strong against like small light units, and at the moment, if they're just
yeah, but the problem is that you can put a shield on it.
I think that's a problem with the shield more than the Vulcan, to be honest.
Remember when Vulcan drop was a thing? Vulcan drop with the stomp.
I remember that. Closing question. Last question for all of you once again. What was your favorite happy, so nice moment about your experience playing Stormgate? Starting with Albino once again.
I have my most favorite one. I don't know if I can say. I'll say off stream or off camera. Say.
Okay, sure.
But
do you have another nice
yeah. I do. My favorite is me, Theory, and Parting would talk a lot about making build orders and stuff like that, and like real solid macro builder, and like that to me is RTS, is like refining, making it better, perfect, no mistakes. You know, you're being creative about it, and you have people that like are obviously also very good at the game helping you. So like to me that is core RTS, and I will never forget those moments with them. Yeah.
I'll take this myself. I wanted to like do Theory first, but this happens to be a very nice segue. In the same line, my favorite moment out of all my Stormgate career was without a doubt playing in the Vulcan Team Cup, Team League, sorry. And same thing, strategizing with Eric, practicing with Boss, doing the Sao Paulo prison sketch, having the strategies, like thinking about the way we wanted to order our player. Oh, Lorimbo, you're gonna do this. And personally beating Kiwan 2-0 while in a best of one. Don't ask how I got 2-0 in a best of one. That's a mystery for another day. And just generally, like just a team of ragdolls, like random players that were all of my friends, ending up winning the entire tournament when they were really good players playing in. Was an amazing experience, and I loved it. Theory.
So for me, I'm gonna mention two moments that are big, but I kind of want to talk about this a small moment. But like two big moments for me were, of course, playing at the first two LANs, Tasteless Showdown and Esports World Cup. Those were two of the best experiences of my like whole life for anything. So it was super cool. But like some of my most cherished memory was early Stormgate, December, playing in the Tank Cups back when they had Europe and NA back to back. It was Christmas. I'm on my laptop like Lorimbo style, and I'm like, yeah, mom and dad, y'all aren't gonna see me today. Like all Saturday is like I'm booked. Okay, so I wake up early. I play in the EU Cup, get second place. I play in the NA Cup, win it, and and then all of a sudden I get invited, like, oh, last minute Artosis, the
King
Artosis,
King of the Hill thing.
not the King of the Hill, but this is very early.
Yeah.
It was just a show match, and this was the first like non-Mono Dream versus TLO DreamHack footage shown. So I like stayed up. I was up for like almost 20 hours straight just playing Stormgate, and I played in that show match. It was like first time showing footage of the D build, Devastator build, and just that whole day of just playing Stormgate, I go from being no one knows who I am to like being one of the only replays of the game on the internet. Felt really cool to me.
That reminds me of one, which is the game that basically everyone casted between you and Lorimbo, where there's like a million dragons.
The dragon. Like I lost that game. It's like the one game I lost to him.
Yeah. No, don't even try. You lost. You lost 2 games, and you stole one.
I stole one.
One base on leaning.
I used the bug.
Using the tower in my... Yeah, I used the bug. Fucking hell, bro. I'm so mad. I would have won 3-2 if it wasn't for that fucking thing.
Oh, yeah.
So at the time you could...
yeah, you could use the Shroud Stone manifestation, but it like near other people.
Yeah, and I barely won. It was... We put it on the AfterMath TikTok. It was a banger.
Let's just say that spawning a very strong tower in your opponent base while you're all leaning tends to to have very
pretty good.
significant outcomes.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with Stormgate, honestly. I think obviously the ATRT winning the Vulcan Cup was just so sick, and it was hype and it was close, so it was like, you know what I mean, like, because Parting didn't play, right? If Parting had played like, he could have probably walked the whole thing, but like the fact that it came down to it and we were like strategizing, I think I technically have to get Boss's ugly little rat thing tattooed on my body at some point.
Really?
Yeah.
He promised.
I did promise, because he swept. It was just so sick. I think some of my kind of favorite memories were every time a new build released and we'd all just sit in the Discord and everyone was saying like, you know, figuring out, oh, they've changed this, oh, this is really strong, oh, this unit does this. And I have a memory of not being able to play because I had to travel for work, and I was in a train station watching Lorimbo's stream in the Discord on my phone, and just like, I don't know, there's loads of people in there, everyone's chatting, hanging out. So I think we've met some really cool people through Stormgate, and it's been interesting and cool the way that it kind of brought a lot of very disparate people together. Like, obviously, ultimately, I think we're all basically StarCraft players, but kind of like you're saying with how if you had like 2, apart from Albano, who's a Dota player, we'll never forget. Like, if you have 2 kind of events in the opposite corner of the US, like the players crossing over between the events will be very low. And it's like, you know, it brought back a load of people who'd stopped playing StarCraft, had moved to different RTS. Shout out to Beyond All Recognition, and like we all kind of got back and kind of chatted about solving the game and, you know, coming up with new strats, and yeah, I just found that really nice. Found that really cool.
The real social RTS was where the friends we made along the way. The real social RTS was inside us all along.
Oh man.
I mean, HaRT is in Theory's house right now. In real life. This could not have happened.
That's actually not true. This is a green screen.
Yeah, I can't.
I met a lot of cool people through Stormgate, so that's right. That's cool. Theo, you mentioned we had a second moment. Do you want to talk about it, or do we go for the closing?
Oh no, that was all I wanted to mention. Yeah, the 2 big moments.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to go in detail because everyone's already seen it.
Yeah.
But the small moment,
Perfect.
yeah, I think about that a lot. It made me happy.
Cool.
I'm not gonna say what I thought of it. Like, this is for the after show. This is for the after show. My comment on this.
Okay, we'll wrap up. Thanks everyone for watching.
Okay.
It's another excellent episode of All Things Real Time. Like I said at the start, this is actually part 2. We did Supply Cap pod right before this. There's another hour of content. Please do check that out over on the Aftermath. Wait, where's my... Gotta get the logo in. This
Albino, you are the Manchurian candidate. Go. Shout you out. Shout out the channels. Where can we find you, Albino?
Everyone, go to Supply Cap on Aftermath RTS channel. AME Albino on Twitter and Albino SG on Twitch. Go follow and subscribe.
It got activated. And you, Theory, where we can find you?
Theory on Twitch TV and Theory SC2 on Twitter.
When are you changing that?
Yeah.
To Theory.
Yeah, whenever the Theory brand goes out of business, I'll get the Twitter account. Yeah.
And as always, thank you for listening to us, friends and fans of all
like and
things
subscribe.
Time.
Follow us on Spotify.
Like and subscribe. Smash that like button.
Please leave a comment. We genuinely do read all of the comments, and I reply to them because I have the PR. You know, I can spin.
PR guy.
I spin.
Yeah, you don't know how many times if Lorimbo had replied to the comments, we would have lost quite a few fans.
Yeah, stick around.
Why Artus? Like Art has the more polite variation of so many things. Thank you for being with us. Thank you once again.
Zero Space coming should be maybe a month, hopefully. We'll see.
Age of Mythology content.
AOM. I meant to ask you about AOM, but yeah, we'll talk about that next episode for sure. Especially when I actually get a chance to play on it when I'm not in sunny Cali.
Keep in mind that as always, Art doesn't play the games because it's lazy. It's lazy and spoiled.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Battle Aces will be soon, I'm sure. Hype times.
Okay. Thank you for being with us. Bye bye.
Bye, Lorenzo. Good night.
Bye.